Welcome to the land of 10,000 lakes. This evening, we're in Minnesota for a matchup between the Loons and Houston Dynamo Dose. Hello, family. I'm James Hadnot. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Both of these sides are on 5-match winless streaks. For Houston, they're a side that have been so successful, still hovering near the top of the Western Conference right now, 5 points away from Ventura County, who leads the Western Conference. And for Minnesota, they were off to a fantastic start. They won their first 4 matches all on the road. It was one of their best starts in franchise history, but since have been winless in their last 5, have dropped 3 of those 5 matches, and all of those losses have come here at home. So they're trying to turn the tide against Houston. We take a look at the starting 11 for Jeremy Hall, sending out a 4-4-2, 4 changes from their draw at the hands of Tacoma 1-1. Kieran Chandler and Troy Putt will play left back and right back for Minnesota this evening. Kai Zaroon will be in goal, making just his second appearance of the season, and Aiden Martinez returns to the starting lineup for Minnesota. We now take a look at the starting 11 for Houston Dynamo Dose. They make 2 changes from their draw at the hands of Sporting Kansas City 1-1. Exxon Arzu joins the attack. Arzu with 3 goals on the season. He will play in the striker role along with Tomas Romero. And then the other change is Juan Viveros. He makes just his second appearance of the season for Houston Dynamo Dose. They also have a formation change. They played a 4-2-3-1 versus Sporting Kansas City, now playing with a back 5. And in talk with Marcelo Santos, he mentioned that Minnesota is very aggressive and very physical, and so Dynamo Dose go with 3 center backs on the occasion, and they will have the safety valves of Viveros and Di Morelli providing width on the outside. And Santos talked with me at length this week about just the culture and the philosophy for this side in Houston. He wants to provide his players with all the tools they will need, but also give them the freedom to not only express themselves, but to make changes on the fly. That's the trust that he has in this side. He's coming from New England Revolution. This is his first season as a head coach. Houston is off to a great start up to this point. The referee is William Hale. Moments away from the start of the match. Hale looking at his whistle. Checks the watch, and there's the opening whistle. We begin from the National Sports Center Stadium. Houston Dynamo Dose taking on Minnesota United FC2. And already an early whistle and a restart necessary. Dynamo in their orange kits with white shorts, and Minnesota in their sky blue kits. This ball's pumped into the air. Arzu tries to track it down. Now this ball is lost to Houston. Long effort, and Zaroon immediately called into action. Coach Jeremy Hall for Minnesota said that he wanted his side to come out with a lot of energy early on. Feels like in recent matches it's taken them some time to get going. And at home, it's not a place where you want that to be your reality. Kieran Chandler has to race to get in front of Juan Viveros. And immediately, Minnesota trying to play out of the back. One thing to note for Minnesota, especially throughout this match defensively, Anderson Ferris is playing in a center back role. He usually plays in the wide areas, and Coach Hall was honest. He said that sometimes teams will try to go at him, but we will have the coverage, we'll have his back, as well as hopefully will help his development. Now Kieran Chandler racing towards the byline, cuts it back, real chance! Second opportunity! Is hit over the bar. Kurt Koloff had the second chance. Minnesota almost struck early here. This ball was brought down Aiden Martinez was the first to have a crack, and then Kolov sent it over the bar. Chance creation is going to be big for Minnesota. That's something that they stressed all week. Houston racing forward now. Viveros sends the ball in. Tomas Romero sneakily cut in front of Ferris. Just could not strike it. So both teams off to quick starts in this Western Conference matchup. We talked about Houston, where they sit in the Western Conference table right now as we near the halfway point of the season. Minnesota much farther down, but they've only played 9 matches. And there are other teams in the West that have played 13 matches. And so, despite them being lower in the table, they have the ability to make up that ground. This is Chandler. Fisher, one of the older players on this squad, has been with them for the past 2 seasons. This ball's floated forward. Masanvi, a little tap, but then it's cleared away. Only as far as Anderson Ferris. Kabia scoots the ball out wide. Kolov loses possession, and now Houston off and running again. Exxon Arzu. Plenty of gas in the tank as he's brought down. Good challenge from behind. A throw in for Houston. Ball comes into Arzu. Rodriguez sends it towards Viveros. Sanvi steps in front of Viveros. That ball pops up on his hand, does Viveros. And you see Kieran Chandler immediately grabbing at his left leg. And early on in this match, just trying to rub out what might be a cramp. He'll keep playing. Chandler tries to play central. A nice tap forward to Masanvi, but he is offside. Luke Hilly, great work to cut in front of the face of his defender. Masanvi was just too antsy, could not stay on side as that ball was played to him. Pedro Cruz, the goalkeeper for Houston. Goalkeeper of the month in April. And right now, Tomas Romero is down for the Dynamo. So you can see Romero having his right leg worked on, closer to his right foot. Romero signed on May 30th of this year on loan from Club Atletico Union in Argentina. He spent most of his time with their U team, more than 50 appearances in the reserve league, had 9 goals. And since coming in, he's only making his 2nd start, his 3rd appearance. He has played a total of 60 minutes of game action. He was able to get off the field under his own power. We'll see if he can continue to play. So Houston will be without one in the attack for the time being. Ball is sent long. Arzu does well, and he has plenty of pace. Gliding past everyone, Arzu cuts it across, but the ball will roll harmlessly to Zaroon. Jeremy Hall shared with me this week that Exxon Arzu is a problem. It's something that we are going to have to solve. We've already seen it today twice. His pace and speed a problem down that left flank. Viveros launches it high. Fisher trying to control. Arzu trying to put pressure on. And now back to Zaroon. This is a young side today for Minnesota. Injuries throughout the franchise, as well as it being international duty time. Even their main goalkeeper, Kane Rizvanovic, playing with the U.S. men's youth national team, unavailable today. Troy Putt is back from international duty with New Zealand to be in the starting 11 today. That is no excuse, especially not coming from the head man. Wants his team to just play sound. Feels like there have been too many mistakes that were unforced errors. Hasn't been too many amazing goals. Arzu brought down. And this looked to be outside of the box. A yellow card is shown, and Houston will have a free kick. Enrique Correa and Matteo Di Morelli, the two potential kick takers. You see Arzu once again being a problem. Just brought down from behind. Troy Putt receives the yellow card. So now he'll be on a booking for the final 80 minutes of this match, trying to deal with Exxon Arzu. And that is not a recipe for success. We move into the 11th minute. Houston with the set piece. Ball comes in towards the back post, and then it's nodded away. Carlos Casillas Lopez, the man that ushered it out. Houston has a corner. Back post coverage by Casillas Lopez. And now, once again, it's Matteo Di Morelli. Sends the ball all the way across. The wind kind of brings it down to the top of the 6. And play is halted. So the training staff having to come out. Looks like Anderson Ferris, the youngster, in need of some medical attention. And for Ferris, usually plays in that winger left back role, but today he's getting a chance to play center back. And Coach Hall just talked about the necessity in development. That's really the main key for this Minnesota side. And although they've been winless over their last 5, development is always important. However, Coach Hall will be the first to tell you that competitiveness and winning is also a part of development. And that is why some of these recent results have been frustrating for Minnesota at the second team level. Because at the end of the day, especially for Coach Hall, who's been a professional in MLS, done it at the highest level, he knows that regardless of the situation or the circumstance, when you're at the first team level, you You have to produce. And that's something that he's also talking with his team about. Anderson Ferris is back on the pitch. Kieran Chandler on the ball now. Nice touch. And Chandler will go back to his goalkeeper, Zaroon. As you can hear the wind whistling, it will make things tricky. We'll see how both teams fare. Nice little pilfer from Kolov. He can't keep things in balance, as after losing possession, it was won back by Jaden Puna. Now Fakabia locates Kieran Chandler. Zaroon swings the pendulum out towards Chandler, but the ball will go out of play. Marcelo Santos, head man for Houston. In his first year as the head coach, comes from New England Revolution, where he was an assistant, was a part of New England back in 2023 when they were near the top of the Eastern Conference, made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals before losing to Columbus on a late goal. Played with Houston, with New England last year. And was key in the development of multiple players. Just knew that this was the right opportunity because of the philosophy, because of the culture, just because of the pursuit of excellence that is Houston Dynamo. And he talked very highly about all of his players and his belief in their ability to answer the questions that are posed by opposition, giving them structure but also freedom. This ball's tapped forward to Kieran Chandler of Minnesota. Tries to cut it across. Cruz gets a hand to it. He was out of the 6. He's off his line. Alpha Kabia. He's maneuvering forward, and a point to the spot. So Alpha Kabia got inside the area, and William Hale points to the spot after the contact. Here it is again. And for Kabia and for Minnesota, they'll be happy with the result. For Houston, they'll be hard-pressed. So Luke Hilly holding on to the ball right now. He wants this moment. Pedro Cruz, who played in the 3rd tier in Brazil, also played in the 2nd tier with Bahia. Now, all that stands for Houston. Hilly. True from the spot. And Minnesota takes the lead 1-0. Luke Hilly, goals in back-to-back matches. A powerful strike. Cruz went the wrong way. He wasn't happy after diving the wrong way. And all Hilly had to do was finish. And he's got a connection. Minnesota takes the lead.
Scoring for UFC 2 in the 17th minute on the penalty kick.
Farah steps in front of this. He'll track back. Now Chandler fires forward. Barnett almost put it out of play And now there's a foul, and Houston will have possession. This portion of the match is brought to you by the experts at Allina Health. An altogether better kind of healthcare. Learn more at allinahealth.org. 18th minute of action. Luke Hilly gets Minnesota on the board. 1-0 on top of Houston. Minnesota, through the first 4 matches of the season, scored first and won all 4 matches. Over the last 5 matches, they conceded first in 4 of those 5 and are winless in those 5. Hoping that the opening goal is a good omen and they can snap their 3-match losing streak here at home. Kabia. Now Fisher and Ferris. Jaden Puna goes back to the goalkeeper, Pedro Cruz. Isaac Wakatuya, an important piece. A young player that has worked his way up. Spent training sessions with the first team. Barnett. DiMorelli loses possession. First look is forward for Minnesota. Kabia can't connect out wide. Now here's been the problem child for Minnesota. Exxon Arzu of Houston. When he shifts into full throttle, nobody can stop him. And another loon is going in the book. Now Carlos Casillas Lopez joins his teammate Troy Putt in the book. Both on a yellow, both defending Exxon Arzu. We move into the 21st minute. Ball sent into the box. And it's booted away by Luke Hilly. So Tomas Romero cannot continue. David Garcia is going to come on for him in a couple of moments. Long throw comes into the box. Romero chests it out. And it's a goal kick for Minnesota. So Romero will come off the pitch. You see David Garcia right there getting ready to come on. So another short stint for Romero. We hope that he's okay. He went down earlier in this half and was laboring in his movement. So his day is done. And Houston has to use a substitution window in the first half. Fisher floats this ball forward. Hilly is the target. Now the ball pops to Arzu. Arzu thinking about coming central. He cannot work his way around Fisher, and that's what's going to be necessary for Minnesota. Can't be closed down by just one. It's going to take 2-3 bodies at a time with the pace that Arzu provides. Now the ball's turned over to Sebastian Rodriguez. Slides to DiMorelli. And the 16-year-old is just shoved down by Loic Massanvi. DiMorelli wins it back. Trying to connect with Arzu, and now Zaroon will send it away. Minnesota trying to deal with the pressure. Ball is lost once again. Viveros. Rodriguez slides it towards Viveros. And that's last off of Juan Viveros for a Minnesota goal kick. This portion of the match is brought to you by Allianz Life Insurance Company of North America, proud worldwide insurance partner of the International Olympic and Paralympic Committees. The lone goal from the spot for Minnesota. Alpha Cabia was brought down in the box, and Luke Hilly dispatched the spot kick for a goal. Sebastian Rodriguez trying to step in front of this. He has really moved into a leadership role since the injury to Diego Gonzalez. Coach Santos talking about the relationship between Rodriguez and Gonzalez. Diego Gonzalez is really the heartbeat of this team. He's been so key, and without him, that has also played into the struggles that Houston has had over their last 5. And so the coaching staff had a conversation with Sebastian Rodriguez about the necessity for him to grow in his leadership role and to step up in a positive way. He's learned that leadership trait from Gonzalez. Now it's time for him to put it into action. And with Houston down right now, going to need that leadership more than ever. Hilly tries to keep it in play, but only finds Arzu. First touch from David Garcia is awry, and Minnesota has the ball back. This is Kieran Chandler. Chandler playing patiently. Kolov into Fisher. Now around and space to operate for Minnesota. Slip forward to Aiden Martinez. Nice little drawback. And the attack fizzles out. Troy Putt lost his footing going into the area. Masanvi, Chandler, now Kolov. Masanvi tries to play back to Kolov. And although Minnesota has not been able to finish, this has been good action. This is what Coach Hall has been looking for. The execution in the final action is what's missing. And if they can put all of that together, then they can reinvigorate their winning ways. Whirlwind coming for the Loons. Ball's kept in. Now lost to Rodriguez. Arzu could not take it in stride. Rodriguez works back. And again, that's where that wind makes things tricky. Rodriguez made the right play, but the wind stopped that ball going forward. Now this hangs up into the air, and Zaroon easily brings it down. David Garcia was there for Houston. it down. Again, Rodriguez in the mix of the pilfer. David Garcia does well to keep possession here, but just too many bodies around him. Ball's turned over. Play is switched to Viveros. Viveros sends it in, nodded away. Now Arzu in the box. Arzu, his second attempt. The ball popped up on Fisher, and the Houston sideline not going to be pleased, as that looked to have hit the arm of Fisher, but his arm was not in an unnatural position. That's why play on is the decision. Dynamo still trying for a goal, and this ball will just roll wide. Joshua Bolma could not curl this ball around Zaroon and in the net. As you see the dive from Zaroon, the ball just could not inch inside that outer post. Martinez fires forward. Cruz is well off his line. He'll clear it away. Bolma, the former Maryland Terrapin, finds Arzu. Next on Arzu with his eyes up. Rodriguez sends out wide. Viveros. Ball comes screaming across the face of goal. Nobody there at the back post. Arzu picks it up. Now the ball's lost to Minnesota. Martinez keeps possession. Kolov with the twirl. He's brought down near midfield, and that's a foul. This portion of the match is brought to you by Target. Target is here for the love of the Loons. 30th minute of action, just a quarter of an hour remains in the first half. Minnesota in front by a goal thanks to Luke Hilly. Hilly scoring from the spot. Houston committing a foul inside of the Minnesota offensive area. Fisher launches this ball over the top. Hilly latches onto it. Luke Hilly with numbers in the box. Decides to work back. Now Ferris. Pendulum swings to Chandler. Ball sent in. And now cleared away by Rodriguez, as he is truly box to box. He's all over. Aiden Martinez receives the slip. Martinez is sent where he came from. Kolov. Oh, that was smooth. Now put Martinez. Ball comes in. Minnesota trying to control, and off the volley. That was Carlos Casillas Lopez. Always was going to be an ambitious effort. This ball comes out. It was cleared away only as far as Casillas Lopez at the top of the D, and could not really trouble Pedro Cruz. Correa, Rodriguez ushers it forward, and Houston on the prowl. Di Morelli just whiffs on the cross. talked about Minnesota's struggles at home, but they played some top talent. Vancouver, who's always difficult, one of the top goal-scoring teams in the West, and they've lost to the reigning champions, North Texas, and the team that played North Texas in the Western Conference Final last year, St. Louis. North Texas is fourth in the West right now. St. Louis is tied for second. So they played some tough competition. Arzu is going to get to this before Troy Putt. Now Arzu taps it forward, but loses possession to Alpha Kabia. Houston, too, over their winless streak, has fallen to the likes of North Texas and St. Louis, but they've drawn against Colorado and Sporting Kansas City. And although they haven't won a match in their last 5, they picked up 6 points due to earning the extra point in 3 draws. And that's what's helped them keep pace near the top of the West. It's a logjam near the top of the Western Conference. Going into yesterday's match for Ventura County, there were 7 teams that were within 5 points of the top. Ventura County pushed that lead out after their win versus Portland yesterday, 3-2. But especially for teams like Minnesota, who are playing just their 10th match of the season, while others have played 12, 13 matches. Still plenty of work to do, but plenty of time to do it. A free kick now for Minnesota. Kieran Chandler getting the thumbs up. Britton Fisher ready to enter the ball into the box. Masanvi was the last to it, but Pedro Cruz grabbed it. Kabia has to be clean with it, was just clean enough. This direct ball will find its way all the way to Houston's goalkeeper. Nice skill by Jaden Puna. And a foul behind the play. So Houston will have to restart from there. Mentioned Minnesota struggles at home. Hold the phone on that. Transition opportunity. And Loic Masanvi can't make Houston pay. Masanvi picks the ball up and decides to shoot from the top of the D. Had a man coming off his right shoulder. If he would have waited just a tick longer. Martinez tripped up by Sebastian Rodriguez. That'll be a yellow card to Sebastian Rodriguez. So another free kick for Minnesota as we are moving towards the 38th minute of action. Minnesota has really imposed their will on Houston. They've been the team that has found themselves in possession much more in this first half. And although Houston has looked slightly dangerous on the counter thanks to Exxon Arzu, this match has been played on Minnesota's terms. Kolov sends this ball into the box. It's an excellent ball. And Luke Hilly can't make more of it right there. This was fantastic service. You see Healy just peel off, but he could not punish Houston. Even though Minnesota drew last match, they felt like they could have gotten more. They scored first. Will 100% want to at least end the half in front. Barnett, Puna, Mwakpatuya. Puna pushed off the ball. 4v4. Hilly can't take the deflection. That's the second time in the last 5 minutes that Houston has turned the ball over in the back. However, Minnesota can't make the most of it. And those are the opportunities that the coaching staff is not happy about, because you leave the door open for moments like this. Arzu into Viveros. Viveros, no. And Zaroon comes off his line. Next on Arzu. He's still down. Has been everything and more for Houston today, despite the Dynamo not having anything on the scoreboard. Arzu has been the main reason why they have really been in it. His pace is something to behold. Houston always looks dangerous, always is dangerous when Arzu is in the 11. So play resumes in the 41st minute. Minnesota in front by a goal. Troy put a nice move to keep possession. We'll switch the point of attack to Kieran Chandler. Nice touch. Chandler's ball is lofted. Hilly can't beat Cruz to it. Cruz with an excellent ball out. Bulma with it. Houston trying to take advantage of a stretched Minnesota. Garcia, no power behind this, and it rolls right to Kaiserun. As this match opens up, that is in favor of Houston. Masanvi showcasing his strength, winning that ball. And because of that strength and because of that grit, Juan Viveros goes into the book, and Minnesota has a free kick. Well, we see this all the time from Loic Masanvi. He's not going to back down from anyone, no matter their profile in comparison to his. He's not only feisty, but aggressive in every way a coach loves. Coach Santos said we have to match their physicality and aggressiveness. Well, Minnesota's winning that battle right now. Kolov sends the ball in. Masanvi makes good contact, but Cruz was in great position. Now Exxon Arzu outside of his foot. Bulma will step in front of Chandler. Arzu keeps possession for Houston. The attack stays on. DiMorelli cuts onto his left. Ball takes a deflection. Rodriguez tracks it down. And Houston still in possession. Wakatuya. Correa. And that's off Troy Putt for a Houston corner. Here was the last opportunity for Minnesota. You see Masanvi rises up, but Cruz with textbook position and technique. Outswinging ball. Chandler first to it. Ferris fires it away. And now the break might be on for Minnesota. This is Troy Putt. And you see Daniel Barnett not to be outdone by the footwork of Putt. Kieran Chandler thinking about a long throw. Ball comes in. Koloff steps in front. First ball hit out by Viveros, and a throw in coming for Minnesota as we reach 45 minutes played. Fourth official announcing a minimum of 2 minutes of added time in the first half. Minnesota in front by a goal on top of Houston. Lopez turns this over. Minnesota wins it right back. And Putt, rather than play forward, goes to Britton Fisher. Lofts this ball towards Chandler. He can't keep it in. Maybe the last gasp for Houston now. Long ball, searching for Viveros. It finds him on the touchline. Viveros turns it back over. Now Masanvi, Koloff, outside of the boot. Hilly is onside. Luke Hilly still with it. Luke Hilly maybe does a little too much there. And you have to credit Pedro Cruz, who came out very quickly, forcing Hilly to make a decision. And in the end, it was a wrong one. And that is why he was the goalkeeper of the month in April, and why he's one of the best goalkeepers in the conference and throughout the league. That's just high IQ from Cruz. Now Houston coming the other way. Joshua Bulma stopped off. And there's the halftime whistle. Pedro Cruz doing all he can to keep this scoreline where it stands. The difference is a goal from the spot. A penalty dispatched by Luke Hilly early in this match. At the half, Minnesota 1 and Houston 0. First half highlights and stats are coming up after the break.
Action.
Este verano, el centro del fútbol mundial está aquí. Los mejores del mundo. El deporte mundial en tu propio rincón. 4 grandes eventos. Un verano como ningún otro. Para aprender más, visite mlssoccer.com/.
Welcome back. Halftime score is Minnesota 1 and Houston 0. We'll take a look at our busy upcoming schedule in a moment, but first, April Marie Aguilar checks in from the Pacific Northwest with this week's edition of The Report.
Third. Short corner, and it's in!
Lifts the ball into the box. Joyner again!
With a high angle to the back post, knocked on. Adi Mabula!
We're coming to you from the Evergreen stage, where the home team is in a closely contested race to make the playoffs after having made the Western Conference semifinals the last 2 years. Welcome to the latest edition of The Report. I'm April Marie Aguilar. When the Seattle Sounders FC2 rebranded in 2019, the name Tacoma Defiance was the top choice in a public poll. Named after Point Defiance Park, the crest features a stylized ship based on the USS Point Defiance and the tentacles of a giant Pacific octopus. Both the name and the logo make reference to Tacoma's identity, maritime roots, and sense of civic pride. And on the pitch, Tacoma Defiance has something to be proud of this season, with 2 of the leading goal scorers in MLS NEXT Pro. Ozaze de Rosario got his 2025 season off to a hot start, scoring in each of Tacoma's first 5 games and leading the league with 8 goals through April. And in May, as de Rosario began playing for Seattle Sounders FC, his teammate Yu Tsukunome surpassed him, scoring 4 goals, including a brace against Ventura County FC, and moving up to second in the league with 9 goals through the end of the month.
はい、僕はあんまりそのサゼとゴールデンブーツを争っているっていう感覚はなくて、僕はチームが勝つためにサッカーをしているので、サゼのこともたくさん見ているし、僕とサゼの関係はすごくいい関係だとお互いは思っていると思いますし、はい、すごくやりやすい関係でいてます。
Could we be seeing the highest scoring pair of teammates in league history? As of the end of May, Tsukunome and de Rosario have combined for 17 goals. They're on pace to surpass Remy Cabral and Yosuke Hanya, who combined for 32 for Colorado Rapids 2 in 2023. You can watch our full conversation with Yu Tsukunome in the latest edition of Player Profile, coming soon to MLSNextPro.com and MLS Next Pro's YouTube channel. Speaking of goals, up next, we've got something that up until May, only 4 players in MLS NEXT Pro history had ever accomplished. On July 2nd, 2022, Raouf Salifu of Sporting KC2 scored all 4 goals in his team's win against North Texas SC, making him the first player in league history with 4 in one game. Just over a week later, John Dennis of NYC FC2 became the second player with the haul against New England Revolution 2. Then there was Jason Russell Rowe. He clinched the Golden Boot in 2022, scoring 4 in the season finale. Then in April 2024, Roald Mitchell had 4 for New York Red Bulls 2, all in the first half. And that brings us to this year, May 23rd, a memorable night for Mekhi Joyner. Joyner led the way for St. Louis City 2, scoring 3 of his 4 goals in the second half of a 6-3 win over Portland Timbers 2. Joyner has been the focal point of City 2's attack this season, and this haul gave him 8 goals through match week 11, tied with Osaze de Rosario for 3rd in the league at the time.
It was super special to me. This is my first time with this club. We get 4 goals, so it was just really surreal and just awesome. An amazing feeling. I'm glad to be the first, and honestly, I couldn't thank my team enough as well, because they push me every day, so props in as well.
Joyner became the first player in City history with a 4-goal game at any level. Along with the brace the week before, he's the second player in league history with 6 goals in a 2-game span. Papa Ndoye of Houston Dynamo those had back-to-back hat tricks in 2023. And by scoring the last 3 of his 4 goals in a 12-minute span, Joyner has the second fastest hat trick in league history. And Joyner made even more history in May. We mentioned the brace in match week 10. His first goal in that game turned out to be the 4,000th goal score in MLS NEXT Pro history on a penalty kick in the 22nd minute.
They've done it in consecutive years for the first time in that 30 years as well. And here they come with Arston, and he crosses in. It's Russell Rowe to finish it.
MLS NEXT Pro Star to MLS NEXT Pro Star to MLS NEXT Pro Star, and with that, the game is over. Sensational from the Columbus crew.
You knew it was going to happen at some point. 3 MLS NEXT Pro alumni factoring in on the same goal in Major League Soccer. As the Columbus crew defeat Charlotte FC, here are some of the best of some more former NEXT Pro players in MLS. May 10th, Philadelphia Union and Columbus crew. Frankie Westfield with the rocket into the back of the net. His first career MLS goal nearly taking the roof off of the net, with the match ending in a draw. Houston Dynamo and Seattle Sounders. Jack Micklin with a lovely delivery with that wand of a left foot. Headed in by Femi Awodesu. That's his first MLS goal as well, and it's the equalizer in a game the Dynamo would lose. FC Cincinnati and Austin FC. 76th minute. Evander plays a peach of a ball. Gerardo Valenzuela with the one-touch finish from close range, his second game-winning goal of the season, just minutes after he subbed into the game. New York Red Bulls and Charlotte FC. Carmona with the cross. Mohamed Sofu with the flick at the near post. Sofo scores for the 3rd straight game across all competitions. Red Bulls win at home. A number of MLS NEXT Pro alumni are all on the ballot for the 2025 Major League Soccer All-Star Game. You can cast your vote on MLSsoccer.com. Voting is open through June 11th. And we'd like to remind you that Goalie Wars will be back in 2025. Goalie Wars is part of MLS All-Star Skills Challenge presented by AT&T. Now here are the top goals for the month of May.
Flick, it's back to Ramirez. Back to his right foot, he's at the end line. Sweeping clearance, booming shot, it's in the back of the net. How about that strike? From about 22 yards away, standing on his left foot.
Colin Welsh getting the start in goal today for St. Louis City 2, his 5th start of 2025 for the rookie out of Western Michigan. Hernandez! saw the keeper off his line, Welsh hovering around the top of the 18.
The go-ahead has been given. What do Timbers 2 do here? Here's the shot. Oh! He's done it again! Set-piece specialist Alex Moreno. That is stunning.
Joyner shoots. Whoa! Makai Joyner is out of his mind. Off this first ball, Joyner takes one touch, and with Burns off his line, that's just enough space for a spectacular shot.
Elsewhere in the league, Chattanooga FC stays on top of the weekly MLS Next Pro Power Rankings. They've held down the #1 spot since April 16th after the end of match week 5. The boys in blue are well on their way to the franchise's first MLS Next Pro Cup playoff appearance in its second season in the league. And congratulations to St. Louis City 2 for setting a new MLS Next Pro attendance record. Over 12,000 attendees on hand to see them defeat Houston Dynamo 2. City 2 breaks their own record, set last October. That does it for this edition of The Report. Make sure to tune in to each episode for the latest around MLS Next Pro.
MLS debutant Kevin Sullivan. Luna. Yes! That is a banger! Absolute scorcher! Spectacular save from Dane St. Clair.
Este verano la Leagues Cup regresa más fuerte que nunca. Comenzamos con 36 clubes. En la primera fase, cada equipo jugará contra 3 equipos de la liga rival para determinar su posición en la fase de eliminación directa.
The 4 top-seeded clubs from each league will move on, ensuring interleague matchups all the way through the quarterfinals.
3 naciones, 2 ligas y un solo campeón. En Leagues Cup 2025,
it's dominance on the line.
Action.
Welcome back to the land of 10,000 lakes. We're at National Sports Center Stadium. Blaine, Minnesota is the destination. And Minnesota is in front of Houston at the half, 1-0. How did we get here? Well, let's take a look. Houston early on, long-range shots. Kaiseroon had to get active early. And then this effort from Aiden Martinez, he couldn't really trouble Cruz. The second shot was well over the bar. This outswinger was dealt with very well by Carlos Casillas-Lopez. Here was the foul right there. And Alpha Cabilla went down. Houston gives up the penalty. And Luke Hilly steps up and scores for Minnesota. And the Loons laid by a goal. And the celebration always fun. Gotta make sure there's a connection. This was Hilly clearing that ball away. And then this was a gorgeous chance. You see Cruz well off his line, forcing Hilly to make a decision, also allowing for his teammates to come to defend behind. Hilly doesn't even get a shot off, and the score stays 1-0 at the halftime break. Minnesota very aggressive in the first half, as to be expected. They dominate the possession and had more shots, both teams having an equal amount of shots on target. But for Houston, they were really more dangerous on the counterattack. If they can keep a little more of the possession in the second half, then they could also work their magic. Now we take a look at the upcoming schedule. Some fun matchups on the horizon. North Texas and Austin FC, the last two Western Conference champions and the last two champions of MLS Next Pro, will face off on Saturday. Philadelphia Union, reigning Eastern Conference champions, will take on Crown Legacy, who was the regular season champ back in the East in 2023. And Ventura County looks to continue their success at the top of the Western Conference. They'll take on Minnesota. A couple of substitutions being made for Houston. Andy Batioja will come on for Matteo Di Morelli. So that's more speed coming onto the pitch for Houston. And Noah Bencourt will come on for Juan Viveros. Viveros picked up a yellow card in the first half. So his day will come to a close after 45 minutes played. Houston and Minnesota both winless over their last 5 matches. Trying to stop that streak, respectively. William Hale blows his whistle, and we begin second half action between Minnesota United FC2 and Houston Dynamo Dos. Immediately, Minnesota on the prowl. Kieran Chandler has to turn around from the cul-de-sac he found himself in and work back to Anderson Ferris. Cabia. Now Ferris goes back to the goalkeeper, Kai Zaroon. 3 saves in the first half, making just his second appearance of the season. Now Aiden Martinez in acres of space. Martinez has to make a decision, and he finds the back of the net. Beautifully done from Aiden Martinez, and Minnesota immediately doubles their lead. Well, this is the right decision for Martinez. Time and space to have a crack. And nothing Cruz can do about that. Perfectly placed from Aiden Martinez. And Minnesota, whatever Coach Hall said in the halftime talk, they listened and executed. Second goal of the season for Aiden Martinez. That's what possession will do for you. That's what aggressiveness will do for you. And just ruthlessness. That's what Coach Hall wanted to see from his side coming into today. A lot of energy from the start. And they have answered the call. Still a long way to go. Houston finds itself behind. Cabia gets to this. More space available for Minnesota. This is Troy Putt. Martinez. Nice idea, but not enough behind that ball. Luke Hilly was the intended target. Minnesota forces another turnover. Hilly returns to Putt. Fresh off his call up to the New Zealand U20 national team. But Troy Putt can't put that ball into a dangerous area. It's out for a goal kick. Minnesota as a squad won their first 4 matches of the season. And they scored first in all 4 of those matches. All of those matches were on the road. They're still looking for their first win of the season at home after dropping their last 3 here at the National Sports Center Stadium. Things are looking very good for the Loons right now. Houston has some questions that they have to answer. Barnett, the guilty party, as Misanvi won that ball first. Kabia turns it over. Bad turnover as Bolma barreling forward. Joshua Bolma still with it. And a corner coming for Houston. Bolma comes as an option to play short. He receives it. Now back to Exxon Arzu. Arzu can't connect with Bolma, who made the run. Ball's kept in and then rolls out off the header from Barnett. This is the formula that worked for Minnesota through their first 4 matches. Won 4-2 versus Sporting Kansas City early on. Makutuya goes back to his goalkeeper, Cruz. This is a bad giveaway by Cruz. Kolov, Put, who has come out of the sleeves that he was wearing in the first half. Rodriguez takes that right off of Martinez. Puna pummels it long. Batioja trying to defend Chandler, but brings them down, and this will be a free kick for Minnesota. Both Batioja and Exxon Arzu were 2 players that Coach Hall for Minnesota pointed out in our pregame conversation as players to watch out for, players that they have to defend. Right now, Minnesota offensively has another opportunity. Ball is lifted into the box. Hilly heads it to the top of the 6, but nobody was there. Cruz launches this long. Zaroon, a touch right to Troy Put. Kolov. Ferris. Now Casillas Lopez. Fisher, and Zaroon sends that out of harm's way. Exxon Arzu on this. It's tapped out by Troy Put. Exxon Arzu will wipe this ball off, get a good grip as he'll look to toss it into the area. Ball's headed back to Arzu. Puna can't connect. And now this is Luke Hilly. Had a goal in the first half for Minnesota. Transition opportunity for the Loons. It's turned over by Kolov. Houston coming the other way. Fisher has to take a stab at that, or Arzu is behind and on goal. This portion of the match is brought to you by Bell Bank. Switch and see how banking should be. Minnesota scoring quickly to start the second half. Aiden Martinez with a screamer outside of the box in transition. Double their lead. So Joshua Boma immediately takes a tumble. There was a small coming together between him and Troy Putt. Houston has the throw in as we're nearing 10 minutes played in this second half. Makwatulia could not get a clean grip on the ball and ends up turning it over. So Minnesota has a throw in their attacking third. Ball bounces down. Barnett booms it away. Now Fisher almost turns it over and does. Arzu goes into another gear, and Anderson Ferris steps in front. Quick throw towards David Garcia. Cabia cuts that out. And another throw in coming for the Dynamo. Minnesota looking for back-to-back wins against Houston. Coming into this season, the Loons had never beaten the Dynamo. The record was 6-0-2 against Houston coming into 2025 for Minnesota United. They won the first match between these two teams 3-1. Minnesota went up 3-0, and Houston got a goal late in added time in the second half. Things are shaping up to be very similar, although both coaches said that this match potentially could turn out differently. Of course, Coach Hall not thinking his team would not come out victorious, but understanding that there would be different players. There's been injuries, no Logan Dorsey in this match for Minnesota. It has not mattered up to this point. Kieran Chandler with an excellent move. And Wakatuya steps in front of that cross. Now Masanvi still with it. Arzu comes in defensively. As Minnesota definitely playing with confidence now. So now some pushing and shoving. Has to be expected. This is an aggressive side for Minnesota. Houston knew they were going to have to match their level of physicality. Coach Santos said that we have to come with the right level of intensity. And Coach Hall echoing that for Minnesota, but saying they needed to raise their level of intensity. So this was always going to be a tense match. And that tension only grows with Houston down by 2 goals. And Minnesota trying to snap a 3-match losing streak at home. Aiden Martinez slaloms through a couple of defenders, and he's loose. This is Masanvi. Martinez continues his run. Slipped out wide. Hilly has his first shot closed down. His second shot sent the other way. Ferris cuts through 2 lines. Now Masanvi again. Luik Masonvi trying to do it by his lonesome. Just runs out of real estate. What is Houston's answer right now? We're nearing the 60th minute. They did have the 3 shots on target in the first half, 7 total shots in the first frame. But that was all in transition. Minnesota has closed down their transition opportunities. It helps that they scored the early goal in this half. They can sit back. Ferris, call love. Now Chandler. Fisher right into the chest of Bolma. He'll keep it in on the touchline. Now Bolma will attack. Central. Now Batioja, the substitute, steps by one man, and this ball takes a deflection. And Kaiserun very happy that it deflects over the crossbar and not under it. Finally see something from Houston in the second half, forcing the turnover. Batioja showing his skill. And now off the corner, it's played short. Ball comes in, and Luke Hilly defensively is there for the Loons. Batioja again, the Colombian Youth International, who's capped with the U20s, sends the outswinger in. This ball takes a flick. It's still free in the box, and then Chandler sends it away. You can feel something building for Houston now. Time was becoming of the essence, just for them to make some type of imprint, make some type of wave, because Minnesota has played this entire match on their terms. And that's why they're in front by 2 goals. Arzu tries to switch the point of attack and will bounce, and Masonvi continues to control and earns the throw-in. Minnesota has been so pleased with Luik Masonvi, along with Darius Randall, who's not available tonight. But those 2 young, athletic center forwards and attacking players. 2 players that Minnesota is looking forward to continuing to develop. Masonvi slides in, sends that ball out of play. And Isaac Muktuya. Day will come to a close. And Gavin Wolf will come on. Houston brings in Gavin Wolf. They acquired his homegrown rights from Austin. Gavin Wolf, of course, the son of former Austin head coach Josh Wolf, and brother of Tyler Wolf, who plays for RSL. This portion of the match is brought to you by the experts at Allina Health, an altogether better kind of health care. Learn more at allinahealth.org. So more attacking prowess coming onto the pitch. We already saw Batioja come on at the halftime whistle. And now Gavin Wolf comes on, the U.S. Youth International and former MLS Next All-Star. How does that change the attack for Houston? Fisher will race to this. Locates Troy Putt. Jaden Puna goes to ground, but ball still with Minnesota. Call of sends it over the bar. So the sun has come out, which is a great sight. It was rainy and dreary to start this match. Minnesota has not minded. Correa. Batioja throttles down. And Sanvi just being a menace, staying in front of Enrique Correa. Now Rodriguez sends the ball towards the back post. Coverage there by Troy Putt. Throw in for Houston, 65th minute of action. Rodriguez, Bolma, his ball right into the hands of Kai Zaroon. Ferris, a nice move to gain some space. But Minnesota can't keep possession. So Aiden Martinez will come off, along with Carlos Casillas Lopez.
And checking in, number 43.
Will Schmidt comes on. And Issa Saidi also comes on.
Number 50, Aiden Martinez. And checking in, number 64, Issa Saidi.
Wolf locates Bolma. Now it's Exxon Arzu. And that's going to be a foul, and Alpha Kabi is going to go into the book. So a lifeline potentially for Houston. You see here, he's obvious they're late. Arzu looks to be the one who will take it. Arzu floats it towards the back post. Not a clean clearance. Rodriguez sends it out wide. Batioja flips it in. This was a good chance, but Enrique Correa heads it over the crossbar. Unmarked. Correa can't test Zaroon. Set pieces have been the bane of Minnesota lately. Been a reason why they've struggled over their last 5 matches. They almost gave up something on that set piece there. Now Masanvi, no real numbers. Call of and Putt. Masanvi picks it up. He's always a problem as he continues his run. Masanvi, effort, the rebound. Haley can't get to it before Cruz makes a stab, and you can tell that that might have mess with Pedro Cruz a bit. You see here, Masanvi's going to have a clean strike. It stings the gloves of Cruz. Cruz was strong when he goes to ground, but after securing the ball, might have taken a toll. And Hilly immediately came over. Just two competitors. Nothing malicious there. That doesn't mean it hurts any less. Pedro Cruz is being tended to now. For Houston, this match marks the start of a 4-match road trip. And they're a team that has struggled on the road up to this point. Just have one win away from home. That was against Vancouver, 3-1. So we'll definitely want Pedro Cruz to be able to continue their leader. Cruz sitting up right now. Just working out that right arm. He's back on his feet. Will work his way back to goal. This portion of the match is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Minnesota. You and Blue, better together. So Cruz just working out that arm, making sure that he can continue. And play resumes. 19 minutes and change now. Stand between Minnesota and snapping that losing streak at home. This ball is given away to Masanvi, but can't connect with Kolov. Masanvi, however, wins it back off the bad pass from Barnett. Kolov in some space. Now Kurt Kolov trying to go by Barnett. He will earn a corner for Minnesota. '72nd minute. A chance for Minnesota to widen the gap. Karen Chandler comes in as an option, but it will be Kurt Kolov to do the honors. Fires the ball into the box. It's Masanvi. Good ball into Masanvi, and just could not keep it down. Sebastian Rodriguez, always calm and cool under pressure. He'll find Barnett. Not wide. Houston with a chance to get going. Betancourt. Batioja. He's pushed off the ball by Troy Putt. Immediately lost back to Houston. It looks like Batioja and Arzu have switched sides. Kolov trying to keep possession with Betancourt on his back. Raisa Saidi is brought down. It's a throw-in for Minnesota. Betancourt. Back to Barnett. This ball takes an odd deflection. Put tracks it in the air, and then it's cleared away. Kolov with an excellent idea into Masanvi. 3v3. Masanvi, a step over. Now the ball will find Saidi. He taps forward. Kolov cuts it back, and Masanvi makes it happen. Loic Masanvi makes it 3-0. So well done here. Saidi's little tap forward, and Kolov, rather than shoot for himself, he didn't have an angle, cut the ball all the way across. Masanvi just had a tap in, and Minnesota makes it 3-0 as a team. And a spitting image of the first meeting between these two sides. As the Loons lead by 3 goals on top of Dynamo Dos. So Lucas Brugman will come on for Enrique Correa. This ball rolls out. Goal kick for Minnesota. This is exactly what the doctor ordered for Minnesota. Having to exercise some demons at home. And now the opportunity for more goals, but Betancourt takes that off of Masanvi. Houston trying to find a way back. Rodriguez. Atioha. Arzu wins a corner with less than a quarter of an hour remaining. Time is now of the essence for the Dynamo. Brugman stands behind this corner for the Dynamo. Comes in tight, takes a bounce, and it's dispatched. A lifeline back for Houston. They're on the board 3-1.
Substitution in UFC 2, the 77th minute. Leading the game, number 9.
This is what you want, just putting the ball into a dangerous area. It skips off, and that looks like Joshua Boma gets the last tap to it. So Boma gives Houston some life. And that's why you can't ever shut off. Houston now has to defend because Minnesota has looked great in the attack today. Kolov floated towards the back post. Saidi immediately gives Minnesota a 3-goal lead again. Issa Saidi mobbed by his teammates. And Minnesota finds another goal. Talked about the expertise in the attack. Kolov just sends this towards the back post. And Jaden Puna was there. And the ball looked to have bounced off of him. Saidi will take it. But we'll see what the official notation will be. As for right now, Saidi is celebrating. And Houston quickly back down by 3 goals.
Scoring for UFC 2 in the 70th.
Kolov sends this to Hilly. He cuts it back across. Now Hilly just wide of the mark. So it will not be the exact scoreline of the match past. And things playing out very similarly between Houston and Minnesota. Hilly, a back heel to Ferris, who's joined the attack. Anderson Ferris hits Daniel Barnett. Ferris now out of position. But Zaroom comes well off his line to deal with that. So there's a foul just outside the center circle. Barnett sends this ball into the box. It's headed away. And Saidi will send it out of play. Right before the Issa Saidi goal, it was Braden Schumacher who's come on for Loic Massanvi. This ball drops kindly to Betancourt. David Garcia can't strike it clean. We're in the 80th minutes. Minnesota has put 4 on Houston. Now Gio Cruz will come on.
Leading the game, number 59, Anderson Ferris.
Anderson Ferris will come off.
And checking in, number 40,
This is exactly what Coach Jeremy Hall wanted for his side in this match. Knew that the bench was going to be full of academy kids and wanted to get them some minutes. The only thing he will be displeased with will be the goal given up on a set piece. That's been a bugaboo for Minnesota. But as every coach says, you'd rather teach after a win than after a loss. Things are looking very good for Minnesota to win here tonight. Betancourt. Arzu. He can't work his way through Troy Putt. And after holding up Putt, that's going to be a foul. Mentioned that Houston's going to be on the road for the next couple of matches. It will be Real Monarchs, then St. Louis and Colorado over the next 3. So the road does not get easier for the Dynamo. 2 of the next 3 are at home for Minnesota. Ventura County, who's at the top of the West right now. Colorado, who was tied for the top of the West before Ventura County's win on yesterday. And LAFC, who is playing now with Vancouver and is down by a goal. Arzu, a nice little touch around Putt. Arzu's speed really hasn't been a problem in this second half for Minnesota. It was an adjustment made by Coach Hall and how they were defending Exxon Arzu. But now Arzu a little loose. Ball cut all the way across, but nobody there. And that's going to be a foul and a yellow card on Betancourt. A tough challenge, but again, just running at full speed. Will Schmidt was always going to take a hard tumble.
Yellow card caution issued to Houston Dynamo, number 46, Noah Betancourt.
So Noah Betancourt goes into the book as we march to the 85th minute. Houston in danger of dropping to 1-4 and 1 on the road this season. Barnett does just enough to shepherd that ball out for a Houston goal kick. Saidi's going to get a yellow card for that challenge on Gavin Wolf. The fans felt like it was a clean challenge and the ball was off of Wolf and thought that Minnesota was going to have a throw-in, but as you can see, Wolf holding at his right leg a bit, took the worst of that. Wolf will just walk it off. Cruz sends this ball away. First ball won by Fisher. Saidi trying to shield off Arzu, but that effort will go awry. Saidi in the end does enough. Minnesota has the throw. Houston with the throw in. Puna has come down from his center back spot. This ball bounces out, but not before a call of offside on Joshua Boma. Boma has been quiet today. The former Big Ten Freshman of the Year does have the goal, but Boma is a player that can really unlock the game. And outside of the toe tap, in the midst of the fray, late in this second half, hasn't impacted it in the ways we expected. Zaroon heads this forward. Boma, you see, gets up for that, but could not control it. Now the ball's lost. Garcia trying to control. Now Rodriguez lets it rip towards Exxon Arzu. But Troy Putt has been right on most of these challenges in the second half. Kolov dumps it forward. Saidi heads it centrally. This hit off the volley. Braden Schumacher, why not? David Garcia is not pleased with stopping of that restart. A little shove, and that's also a little frustration with how the match has gone for Houston. They will have this free kick. 90th minute now. The early word is 3 minutes of added time. Marcelo Santos and Houston will go back to the drawing board. Minnesota will build on this as they take on the team at the top of the West next time out. He does well to hold this up. All of keeps possession. That's the most important thing now. Schumacher still with it. Ball lifted into the box, headed away by Jaden Puna. It's now official, 3 minutes of added time. Saidi. Ball slipped forward to Kolov. Continued on. Now it's stood up. And Barnett is there. Kieran Chandler first to it for Minnesota as they try to finish off this match. Fantastic match for Minnesota overall. First goal came from Luke Hilly from the spot. Now this is Issa Saidi, not happy with himself despite having a goal on the day. It was 1-0 at the halftime whistle, and Minnesota immediately got on the board in the second half thanks to Aiden Martinez, which stands as the game-winning goal right now. Loic Masonvi scored the third. Houston got one back. Joshua Boma tapping it in off a corner. But then it was Saidi who scored last for the Loons. And they look to take all 3 points from the Dynamo. Wolf over the top of everyone. And Zaroon has it for Minnesota. Chandler, a tap forward to Kurt Kolov. Kolov can't work around Barnett. Minnesota still working. Hilly. Put. Now Saidi past Puna. And this ball is sent into the box. Nobody home. Again, Minnesota still working defensively. Kabia. Kolov hits side netting. Here is what might be the final action of the match. Kurt Kolov trying to make it 5-1. There is the full-time whistle. Minnesota thrashes Houston. The final 4-1. Minnesota breaks their 3-match losing streak at home. They now have their first home win of the season. Houston now goes to 6 winless on the campaign. Now let's take a look at the man of the match for Minnesota. The man with the game-winning goal, Aiden Martinez. Picked the ball up in a lot of space. Had to make a decision, decided to shoot for himself, and Pedro Cruz has to pick that up out of the back of the nets. Martinez with the game-winning goal. And as a side, Minnesota feeling very good with how they played today, as Houston is one of the top teams in the West, and Minnesota announces themselves as a force to be reckoned with for the remainder of 2025. The final, once again, Minnesota United FC 4, Houston Dynamo 1. We really appreciate you for tuning in this evening. Don't forget, you can watch MLS Next Pro all season long at MLS Season Pass on Apple TV and MLSNextPro.com with my amazing broadcast crew. My name is James Hadnot saying so long from Blaine, Minnesota, and have a blessed evening.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.